When you hear action and doing, what comes to mind? Hello and welcome to class. In today's class, you're going to learn about a verb. But before we go ahead to define a verb, I'd like to tell you that by the end of this class, you should be able to define a verb correctly and completely. And then you should be able to give examples of a verb and use verbs in sentences consciously. Now, what is a verb? You must have heard in the past that a verb is an action word or a doing word. Now, with such a definition, you have a correct definition, but not necessarily a complete definition of a verb. Such a definition does not cater for some examples of verbs that I'm going to show you. Now, what is a verb? If you want to define a verb in a correct and complete way, you say a verb is an action word or a state of being. A verb is an action word or a state of being. Now, when you say a verb is an action word or a state of being, you have a definition that caters for some examples, such as the lexical verbs, which I'm going to tell you later, and auxiliary verbs. That brings us to the types of verbs. What are the types of verbs? We have so many types of verbs, but I will just limit it for the purpose of this class to two. We have the lexical verbs and the auxiliary verbs. Now, let's give examples so you know what we mean by the lexical and the auxiliary verbs. Go, talk, jump, sit. These are lexical verbs. They are action carrying verbs. And then when you say is, like is, you have am, was, were, had. These are auxiliary verbs, also known as helping verbs. But then when you say an action word, a verb is an action word or a doing word, such a definition doesn't cater for the helping verb, because when I say I am a girl, for instance, I am a girl, in such a sentence, I haven't done anything. It is just a state of being. Like, I was born as a girl. I don't have to do anything to qualify as a girl. I am a girl. The verb there is am, am. So when you define a verb as an action word or a doing word, I haven't done anything to be a girl. So it only states a being, like it's stating who I am. I am a girl. And that's why you should use a definition that is correct and also complete. The completeness is when the definition caters for the examples that you can find in such a term, like the verb we're talking about. I am a girl. He is a boy. Is also a verb. And he is a boy. The boy doesn't have to do anything to qualify as a boy. So it is a state of being. And that's why you should define a verb as an action word or a state of being. Now, let's move properly to the types of verbs. I've told you that we have the lexical verbs that caters for the action carrying verbs, like sit, like jump, teach, talk, laugh, run. These are lexical. They are classified under the lexical verbs, while is, was, were, am, has, had, they are classified under the auxiliary verb. We also have types of auxiliary verb, but we'll not go into that for the purpose of this class. So we can also use the lexical verb in sentence example, like I go to school. Do you learn something today? Thank you very much.